So today we are going to think about this message from Jesus and his recommendations for ourselves to be perfect. As Jaycee just said, we can't be perfect right now, but this is our destiny according to Spiritism and according to Jesus. And this is the purpose of our lives, in fact, to evolve and to purify our souls. So let's all reflect about it today, inspired by the good spirits. So this is our spiritual journey today. I mentioned to Jaycee before, I put the majority of the slides both in English and in Portuguese. I hope it's not like too heavy or a lot of text, but maybe it will make some people feel more comfortable depending on the proficiency. The English proficiency. Myself, I'm making a good effort here because, of course, we are not native speakers, so we feel more comfortable with Portuguese. It's natural. So yeah, let's see how it works. I hope it works well for everyone to have Portuguese too. If not, next time I can keep only English if you prefer like that. So today we are going to reflect on the importance of spiritual improvement, self-knowledge, and charity as a practice to heal our souls, to purify our imperfections, and to learn how to love and to develop virtues. And I decided to put the take-home message first in the beginning, so because it's always a lot of information, and yeah, I think it's good to summarize in the beginning what we are going to discuss, so we can keep in mind and in our hearts that. So we are reflecting about the importance of carrying on, perseverance, or never giving up, because we will always have difficulties in life, and each and every person here is for sure facing some difficulties because it's part of life for our learning, spiritual learning, but the difficulties will pass. But the importance that we as a self, as eternal souls, we continue. So even though we are facing those difficulties, they will finish, no matter which difficulties they are, but they will end. But our soul survives, and we will continue our existence beyond that. Another thing is the importance of faith, in the sense that God is with us. And of course, we know that sometimes intellectually, but it's also a learning for us to learn how to feel that in our hearts. The faith that God is guiding us in our lives, and He's providing with all the resources that we need. We'll see a good example of that in the Bible. I will show a story of the Bible about that. It's just an example, and we will reflect about it, how God is always with us and He provides us with the resources. Many times we don't see it, we don't realize I mean, our faith is not strong, but yes, he's with us. And finally, who we really are. I mean, our destiny as God's children, not only who we are now, our spiritual accomplishments right now, our character right now, but our soul and our destiny of perfection as spiritists, as spirits, sorry. So I want to do something a bit different. I hope it works. I would like to start with a short movie, a video. In fact, it's from a YouTube channel I discovered a few days ago, and now I'm kind of addicted to it. I'm not doing propaganda, advertising, but it's really good. It has like a short interviews with special people. I mean, people that are able to teach something about life. And I'd like to share this video particularly because I think it's related somehow to our reflections here. So let me see here if I can share it. Just one moment, please. Okay. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Good.
However, we cannot hear anything. I don't know if there is an audio.
Subtitles?
Or...
Yeah.
Yeah, we cannot hear. I don't know if there is an audio or...
Yes, there is no sound. But we can read, right?
So, but it's, yeah.
So can you see the subtitles?
Yes,
yeah, but I think
yes,
it would be nice if you could read or someone else, because...
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay. Do you want me to read?
English and Portuguese.
I think it would be better, yeah.
In English?
Yeah.
Okay, just one moment. It's the first time I'm doing this, so I'll remove the subtitles in Portuguese, so I think it will be better.
So so if you want to check the audio on the video, the speaker kind of sign, so you can click there and see the left, going to the left.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here. Yeah, I can hear it. I don't know why.
You can hear it, so it's weird.
Yeah. Well, I will read.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not working. Yeah, it's no audio.
Some people says that's the Iron Man. He can't be broken. Grandpa has seen many summers. In a month's time, I'll be 85 years old. I'm living on borrowed time. Grandpa doesn't have much time left. So now I need to work as long as I still can. Success is not about how many degrees you have. It's about working hard. Many of my friends ask me, Holly, how do you still walk so quickly? How are you still so strong? Hard work keeps your body moving. And now, because it's a bit long, the movie, I'll just jump to another part, because I just wanted to allow him to introduce himself first. Then I'll just jump to the most important part. I love to grow food, not to make money, but rather to share with others. I can share it with my children. I can share it with my friends. It is more fulfilling to give than to receive, not to be seen, but from the heart. At this age and all my experience of life, I cannot say that I am poor. I have so many blessings to be thankful for. I am rich in spirit. I will have to slow down one day. I won't carry on forever. But you need to be thankful. And you need to work towards accomplishing things. Don't allow your life to be meaningless. Don't sit in a corner feeling sorry for yourself. It is unacceptable for your well-being. Stand up. Even if you only take a few steps, it gives you strength. So I think it's a really interesting and inspiring story. I can share afterwards the channel if you would like, so you can only see like the full movie or the full interview. But the reason why I share this story particularly is because of some statements that he made. And I think it's so beautiful because you can see it's a humble man, but he learned that from life. So some of the things that he said that I want to highlight here is, don't allow your life to be meaningless. Don't sit in a corner feeling sorry for yourself. It is unacceptable for your well-being. Stand up. Even if you only take a few steps, it gives you strength. So I think this is about learning how to change our mindset in the first place, and also learning to have perseverance in good, right? So this is so important for us, and this is related about learning how to be a better person, because we are always making mistakes because we are imperfect. But if we carry on, then we will learn from our mistakes. And if we don't give up, then it will give us strength. So no matter what is happening right now in our lives, this is a message I think it's important to just keep going, keep moving on, and things will improve. So what does Spiritism say about the purpose of life or the purpose of incarnation? So in the Spiritist book, question number 132, Allan Kardec asked the spirits the following question: what is the purpose of the incarnation of spirits? And the answer is God imposes on them the incarnation in order to make them reach perfection. For some, it is expiation, for others, mission. But in order to reach this perfection, they have to suffer all the vicissitudes of corporeal existence. In that is the expiation. This is how, by contributing to the general work, he himself evolves, or the spirits evolve. So this is very important because we are always busy about many things in our lives. It's normal. We are sometimes focusing on some aims or goals, mostly related to our well-beings, material well-beings many times, but we can't forget that our aim is spiritual purification. So that means that we are here to evolve intellectually and morally. And why is that for? Basically, so that we can achieve communion with God. And that reminds me of this verse of the Bible where Jesus said, I and the Father are one. And of course, right now, we can't understand what that really means. In our current situation, we are so far from perfection, and we have to understand that it is normal. It is our stage, but we are here to evolve so that one day we may achieve this communion with God and the pure happiness in our souls. But talking about that, I think considering our reality, we have to consider, and I would like to everyone make this reflection or this self-assessment, because many times in life we have certain challenges, and it is common that we have some thoughts or feelings about ourselves that don't correspond to what the Bible teaches or to what Spiritism teaches. So as an example, I want us to question if have you ever felt too imperfect to accomplish something? So, for example, have you ever thought you weren't good or intelligent or skillful, charitable, Christian, or whatever enough, right? And this is normal, even though people many times don't talk about it, but nowadays, I mean, psychology is recognizing that more and more. Sometimes it's called like inferiority complex or self-sabotage. But what's the reason for that? I mean, if we are God's children, why do we feel like that many times, right? Is it because we are imperfect? Well, in fact, one of the reasons is that psychically, I mean, in our minds, we feel distant from God. And this reminds me of the prodigal son parable, when Jesus told the story that one son spent all of his fortune, and then he just separated from the father. And this is how us imperfect spirits, this is how we behave most of the time. So we end up, I mean, even though we are informed about God, but we end up in our feelings, in our emotions, in our inner soul, we feel distant from God. And this is why we don't acknowledge who we really are, in fact, and what are our capabilities. So it also reminds me of some teachings of Buddhism that are related to that issue. So it is called sometimes the self-illusion or the ego illusion. And to put it short, what is the ego? And according to these teachings, the ego is basically who you tell yourself you are. I mean, it's our story, right? It's who we believe we are. And it's mostly based in our experiences, whether from this life, mostly from this life, in fact, from our childhood and the experiences that we had. They have a great impact in our personality, how we perceive ourselves, whether in a good or in a bad way. But also, it is related to our past lives. It's a bit cold here. It's related to our past lives experiences as well. And it ends up shaping this concept about ourselves, of who we are, and it means everything, right? So sometimes it has some bad consequences, because this grasping to the perception of a self as a separate entity leads to an increasing feeling of vulnerability and insecurity. So as a society, it ends up reinforcing the self-centeredness, mental rumination, and thoughts of hope and fear, and distances ourselves from others. So this means that we end up feeling separated from our other people, but also we end up feeling distant from God. And the problem is that, I mean, the ego is important, who we are is important, our personality is important. But the problem is that if I only consider myself as who I am right now with my imperfections, I end up like sticking to that. I don't see beyond that. So that is not good for who I am, who I really am, right? Because all of us, we are evolving. So we are purifying our souls. So we are much more than this, than we are right now, right? So we have a lot of possibilities. We have a lot to develop, to overcome in ourselves. So that's the problem of this illusion of the ego, is because we identify so much to who we are at this moment and to our past experiences that we don't move on. So yeah, I think here it's important for us to think about that the spiritual purification, somehow there is this sense to find out who we really are. And we are building, we are constantly shaping ourselves to improve our spirits. And this also, so when I was studying and thinking about this message, it reminded me suddenly, strangely, about a song. And I was surprised because this song has, it's a bit poetic, in fact, and I think it's related to what we are talking about here. So let's pay attention to the statements. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you ever feel already buried deep, 6 feet under, screams, but no one seems to hear a thing? Looks like a bit tragic, right? A bit too intense. And then, do you know that there's still a chance for you? Because there's a spark in you. You just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just on the night, like the 4th of July. Because you are a firework. Come on, show them what you're worth. And then maybe you recognize already, I'm not a fan, to be honest, of pop music, but this is a pop song. It's funny, I think. But it's from Katy Perry, the singer. It's called Firework. Maybe you probably recognize her. I'll allow myself to sing this part. Pardon me, but I was just so excited about like the message, and it reminded me about the Bible as well, when Jesus says that we need to ignite our inner light, right? So do you know that there's still a chance?
Can I say something just a bit?
Yeah.
If you don't know, Katy Perry she's a daughter of a pastor, and she was raised in a church. So it has to do something to do with her. It needs to do something with this, you know. So that's who I think she has this light in herself. Do you understand? Yeah. So that's all. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I think I heard about it once. Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe I grasped it, you know, the essence somehow from that.
Yeah.
But then, yeah. Do you know that there's still a chance for you? Because there's a spark in you. You just gotta ignite the light and let it shine just on the night, like the fire comes to light. Just maybe you're a firework. Come on, show them firework. Make them go ah, 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 as you shoot across the sky. Ah, ah. And so it's a bit crazy. But yeah, probably recognize it now if you didn't before. But I was like, it just popped in my mind when I was reading. And I was like, wow, this is perfect because it is how we feel most of the time. But I think the message here is that we have this this light inside ourselves, and it's related to our mindset, how we are seeing things, how we are seeing life, right? So even though we might be feeling down about something, we can see differently, right? We can ignite the light inside ourselves and let it shine, and things will be different for us. And this is why I brought some examples here from the Bible for our reflection. So as I mentioned, this way of perceiving things, it's called sometimes in psychology, the inferiority complex. So this is basically when you feel bad about yourself, when you have low self-esteem, when you're too negative. And then interestingly, I was curious, and then I was wondering, well, maybe in Bible, maybe if I do some research, I will probably be able to find that, right? Helping with people. And in fact, there are a lot of examples of that. One of them, it was the first that came to my mind, is Moses. So this is a very interesting thing that happened to Moses. In this dialogue, of course, we know that it is the Old Testament. So yeah, I mean, there are many things related to that, but this is just an example for us to think about it. So Moses was having like this dialogue to the Lord, as it is in the Old Testament. And then let's think about the concept of Moses about himself here. So God was giving him like a mission that he should set people free, right, in Egypt. And then that was too much for Moses. And he said to the Lord, "Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." And the Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." But Moses said, "Pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else." And then, to simplify things, in the end, God was like, "Okay, I will give you some help, and just ask your brother, Aaron, because Aaron was good and eloquent to speak." So then God said to Moses, "You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak, and I will teach you what to do." So the reflection here is, this is the typical posture of the inferiority complex. When you have low self-esteem due to the identification only with our imperfections, not with our possibilities. So the posture is, God, I can't. This is not for me. I'm not good enough. This is who I am, period. So I don't see beyond that. I don't see my possibilities, right? And here I bring another example, also from the Bible, but a different posture. And in this case, we have what I would call humility. And so this is in Matthew chapter 8, verses 5 to 11. And I will read it. So when he had entered Capernaum, a centurion came forward to him, appealing to Jesus. And he said, "Lord, my servant is lying paralyzed at home, suffering terribly." And he said to him, "I will come and heal him." But the centurion replied, "Lord, I am not worthy to have you come under my roof, but only say the word and my servant will be healed. For I too am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. And I say to one, 'Go,' and he goes, and to another, 'Come,' and he comes, and to my servant, 'Do this,' and he does it." When Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to those who followed him, "Truly, I tell you, with no one in Israel have I found such faith." And this is very interesting because it's a different inner posture, right, of this Roman soldier. Here, he is being humble, in fact, so that Jesus was even surprised. And I was impressed because even though I knew this story before, but when I was reading it again, I was impressed with that because imagine that Jesus said in the whole country, so in whole Israel, that man had like the biggest faith, and he was not Christian. So even his faith was even stronger than the disciples, right? So that's impressive. So here, this man, he's humble. And that means he's recognizing, when you're humble, you're recognizing who you really are. I mean, your essence, your inner essence. So the posture here would be, yes, I am imperfect, but I can learn from my imperfections. I can evolve, and God will help me if I really want to. Or maybe I can't right now, but God can, and will show me how to improve myself so I can make it. So as we can see, it's completely different, and it changes everything, because even though both of them have their limitations, right? But in the first case, he is stuck. Like, I can't do better than this, period. This is how I am. And in the second case, you admit to yourself your imperfections, but you go beyond that because you know you have the possibility to improve. And it doesn't come only from me, but it comes from God, from his divine laws acting in my consciousness in my life, right? So here it's the humility when you're humble, and that's another way to deal with our imperfections. That's what I've been reflecting, thinking about it, and I think it's important for us all to learn how to do it. And of course, we have to mention that the spirits in the Spirits book, in this question 919, they recommended us a daily practice so that we can improve ourselves and evolve faster. So Allan Kardec, he asked, what is the most effective practical way for man to improve himself in this life and to resist the attraction of evil? And then Santo Agostinho was the spirit that answered. He said, do what I did when I lived on earth. At the end of the day, I would question my conscience, review what I had done, and ask myself if I had not failed in some duty, if no one had any reason to complain about me. That's how I got to know myself and see what in me needed reform. So this is a habit, an important recommendation for all of us. In the beginning, it might sound a bit like, well, maybe this is too much, or sometimes we are lazy, we have to admit, but it's the only way, right? If we want to improve ourselves, we have to know ourselves so that we know what to improve. So we have to observe ourselves in a daily basis and do it systematically. This is his recommendation, at least, to do it systematically, to pray to the good spirits and seek guidance so that they can show us how we can improve ourselves if we have certain difficulties or certain vices, how we can overcome them, right? Or what we can do, and then we can pray for that. We can recognize that for ourselves, and then, well, maybe I need some more patience. I recognize it. I don't know how to do it right now because I don't have this virtue, but observing myself, I will learn, why am I being so irritated, right? This is just an example. What do I need to heal in my soul that causes me these emotions? Where do they come from? What can I do? Maybe some therapy, maybe meditation, maybe some kind of charity work, help other people, right? And we can pray for that, and we can ask God, please give me some light, some guidance, some inspiration, so that I can improve particularly this vice in my soul. And this is in a systematic way every day, so that we can we can do one step at a time, right? Let me check here the time. Okay, couple minutes more. And here is, okay, sometimes a bit philosophical, right? I think because we have to study, we know the spirits recommend us, that we study, that we learn, but we have to practice, right? If we don't practice, we don't develop the ability, right? So I brought an example. It's just an example. It comes from psychology, these concepts. And this is just like a guidance of how we could, for example, deal in our daily life with some the so-called dysfunctional thoughts or dysfunctional beliefs or cognitive distortions, which are these patterns that we have built for some reason in our lives. Sometimes they come from other lives already, or from our childhood, things that we experienced, or the culture that we grew up in. And it is important because these are things that they're not good for us, right? So for example, as I mentioned, the inferiority complex, it's one example. So we don't recognize who we really are, our capabilities, and we have to heal that, right? Acknowledge that. But how do we deal with that? This one example. Or how we deal with a specific vice in our personality. So these are all dysfunctional beliefs, because the vices are dysfunctional beliefs, right? They are things in which we believe, we live for, but they are not the best way possible for our happiness. So I put the reference here, the source. This is a website explaining about it, the cognitive distortions. So these are just like ways, patterns of thinking, how we usually think, and we don't perceive it. And that's the problem. So for example, all or nothing thinking. So you see things as either always good or always bad. So it's in the extremities. For example, I am a total failure because it took me more time than I said it would to write this report. So this is too much. It's a burden, right? It's too much. Well, this is only a report, but we have this inner speech sometimes. Well, it was one thing, but because of one thing, my whole life is like, okay, I'm a failure, you know? Or for example, another one, jumping to negative conclusions. You reach a negative conclusion when little or no evidence supports it. For example, my coworker went to lunch without me, so she must be mad at me. Like, for sure, this person doesn't like me. So this is really common. And who said it's true? But we believe in that. And this is the problem. And this is for many other things. We just take many things as they have a truth, absolute status, but they are not. So the take-home message here is, one, learn to identify our mistaken beliefs by self-observation. So this is like Santo Agostinho recommended in the Spirit's book, self-observation, know yourself. So if we systematically observe our thoughts and our acts and our emotions, we'll start observing patterns, because we are like machines. Sometimes there's a program, a software, and it's operating, but we have to change the software or to update, right? And this is evolving. So I'm giving just a quick example here of a dysfunctional thought. I'm afraid that my presentation or my work won't be good enough because I'm not good at public speaking. And this is very common fear, right? And then, okay, you identify a certain belief or a certain repetitive thought. And then the second step is to reshape yourself, reshape your thoughts, your beliefs, your cognitive distortions using the rational thinking. So you ask yourself some questions to evaluate your beliefs. For example, how can I see the situation differently? What would my friend, my best friend, my partner, my mother, or other person that loves me, what would this person say about it? What does Jesus or the Spiritism tell me about it? And then you can come up with another possibility of thinking. For example, well, maybe I don't need to be perfect. I'm here to learn and improve with time. And this can also be used, for example, for some vices that we have, right? So, for example, we all have the majority of times difficulties to forgive, to self-forgive or to forgive other people, right? So this is another dysfunctional thought, in fact. So for example, I can't forgive myself, or I can't forgive another person. And then we can work on that, in fact. It's not magical, it's not 1 day, 2 days work, but maybe it's a lifetime's work. But if we want, and if we seek for guidance, we can do that, right? According to the good spirits. So we can reshape our beliefs. And then this is also called Socratic questioning in psychology. It's a method, in fact, that you use. So let's take that, I can't forgive. And then how could I see that differently? Or what does Spiritism tell me about it? Then I can reconsider my point of view. Yes, I made a mistake, so I admit it, but we all learn through trials and errors. I will allow myself to learn from it and be a better person. And then I can pray for that. God, how could I repair this? Please show me how. Or yes, he or she hurt me. But then I can think about it. Have I ever been wrong with someone too? Have I disappointed? Have I hurt someone somehow? If not, I am at peace. If yes, I will ask God to forgive myself too and to move on. So these are just examples, but we can apply this kind of approach for everything in our lives that we have. We want to improve, we recognize we need to, and then it's just a way. If we have a certain time of the day, we can pray for it, and then we can apply that. It's just use our rational thinking to know ourselves better and to improve our mindset. So I will finish here. I hope it has been a good reflection for everyone, but because we're out of time, unfortunately. But yeah, what I want to say is for us to keep carrying on. Life is not always easy, but yes, we are here to learn. And if we continue, if we persevere, we will be able, as Jesus said, with our faith to accomplish everything. So thank you so much